This is Robert with Pioneer Smokehouses, and today in our Cuisinart 18-inch vertical smoker, we're going to do some cheese. Now, this is a charcoal-based smoker, but we're not going to use charcoal in it today. If it's really cold out and you wanted to, you could probably get away with the charcoal snake method, but the charcoal snake method will run your temperature above 100 degrees if you're not careful. So you want to really be careful with that, and you also want to make sure that you use high quality charcoal briquettes for that. Not lump charcoal, burns too hot, and not low quality briquettes because they won't stay lit. So you would have to do that. So first thing, let's go ahead and get the pellet tray lit. Now, today I'm going to be using one of these amazing pellet trays, and we'll be loading that up and getting that running. And if you wanted to, you could use these pellet tubes. I like the tray for almost every application better, except for the pellet smokers. These actually work better in a pellet grill, and you can put them wherever the airflow starts, so that way they get as much airflow as possible and move across towards the vent. So basically, when you're setting it up, just set it as far away from the vent as you can and still allow room around it. And also, place something like a rock or a non-burnable object at the end to keep the pellet tube up at a slight angle. That way, as the pellets burn, they don't fall away from the other pellets and reduce your ignition. You want as much smoke as possible when you're adding this to a pellet grill. First thing I'm going to do here is, if you see, there's two holes here. And you can also check on my tips and tricks video for these things, and I'll put that link up here, so that way, up here somewhere, so that way you can check that out. Now, what I like to do is I like to put a piece of paper or something that's burnable over that hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this piece of paper towel and I'm going to fold it up a couple of times, so that way it fits over that opening just perfect. Just like that. And I'm going to set it in there, and if you see, it's covering that hole. Then I'm going to go ahead and fill this with pellets. Here I have Barbecue Delight pecan pellets. I really like this brand. It's a middle of the road brand. It's available on Amazon all the time. And if you want some, there's affiliate links below. I will get compensated for those, but it won't cost you anything. Another thing I like about this bag is it's such a large bag that I can stick the whole pellet tray in there and then just scoop up what I need. I come up here so that way I can show you that I'm only going to fill it a little more than halfway full. And the reason is that I don't want it to burn for 8 hours. These things, when they're completely full, will burn around 8 to 10 hours. They call in the directions for a longer burn time than that, but I haven't experienced that, and I think it's pretty rare. So I'm going to set this down, and I'll grab the lighter real quick. So I put a haystack lighter in here and lit that up, so that way we'll get that going in a hurry here. And it's acting just like a candle wick. Now, again, this is for about 4 hours, maybe 5 hours of burn time here. And we don't want it to burn much longer than that because the cheese could get bitter. Now, I want to point out something. I had some comments in a couple of other videos. A person told me that my smoke time ruined their cheese. And I don't know, this is a smoke channel. If you don't like smoky food, I'm kind of confused. But if you keep the cheese cheap and practice with it, then you can find out what your perfect spot is on your smoke level. Also, make sure that you rest your cheese for at least a week before sampling it, because it will be bitter right out of the smoker. It's getting close there. I'll go ahead and add a little bit more fire to get that bottom lit. Once the pellets get lit, they'll need time to complete the process, so that way they're burning evenly. And you can see we're starting to get a little bit of smoke here, so we're still burning a little bit of the haystack, and that all needs to be gone before we can move on to the next step. But this will take about 10 minutes or so to get ready for our next process. You can see that some of those pellets are starting to burn. Haystack is still in there burning, which is great, but the pellets are burning along too. And there's a little bit of wind coming up the creek today, so we're getting a little bit of wind here. But I'm going to show you something else. As soon as the haystack is completely out, we're going to add a little oxygen so that way we can get it burning faster. I'm going to go ahead and move that to the side. And remember, leave it hanging off the edge just a little bit, not enough that it can fall, but enough that oxygen can surround it from all angles. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a little bit of prep work here. So I already went ahead and unlatched that and made sure that the main area of the smoker was empty of any ashes. Remove that. And then I'll show you this, and you can see no ashes in here. It's all clean. The ring is still in here, and we don't really need the ring. I'm going to go ahead and set it to the side for this process. That ring is just to hold the charcoal towards the center. We're going to set right here in the middle, and we want to get as best airflow as possible. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to remove the damper. The bottom damper will not be necessary, and the primary reason is we want to get as much air in there as possible. So by removing that, we'll completely open the bottom. Now, I want to point out one thing, that there's a small amount of ashes that falls in there every time we use it. I deliberately did not empty this so I could show you that. And I'm going to set this aside because I want to get some pictures of that later. Now, everything looks good here, and we're still waiting for this, and it is going great. As soon as that flame dies down a little bit more, then we'll move on to the next process. So the next thing is that we have the lid, and underneath the lid, we have our grill grate. Now, I'm kind of lazy, so I put it in my propane grill on low and let it heat up, and then once it's all heated up, I scrape it. Don't put it on high. You don't want to take the chance of damaging it or warping it. And you can't, if you throw grill mats in there on high, you'll instantly destroy them. So never do that. So I clean that up, and then I'm going to use just a small size grill mat in there. Now, I have the custom one, but I forgot about it, and I ended up throwing it in the dishwasher a few minutes ago. So it'll be clean next time we go to smoke. I have well seasoned this, so in between the last video that you saw and today's video, I've used it for approximately 5 or 6 cooks. I really wanted to get some experience, and I also wanted more seasoning on it. I'll show you a couple pictures here, like I think I did some chicken and some ribs, and everything turned out amazing. The one thing that you won't get is a real high temperature. So if you want to get that perfect skin, this one is going to be a little low temperature for the chicken on there. And that thing looks like it is running great. So I'm going to go ahead and move this to the side. And then I'm going to grab one of my favorite tools, a beat up old hair dryer. If you don't have a beat up old hair dryer laying around, go buy yourself one at a thrift store. Now, of course, you can buy a real budget friendly one on Amazon, and I'll try to find a link for one that I like. But I like these right here. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to plug that in first. And so set it on the warm setting. So it's not cool, but it's not hot. And then turn it on low. Again, fire extinguisher right there, okay? So be careful when you're over by your house or on your deck. I do not use charcoal smokers up here at all. That worked out really well, and if it's a little too much oxygen, another trick is you just put your hand on the back. And you can really reduce the amount of air that it intakes, so that way you can customize it for your needs. So now we're burning really good here. You can see that we've got some pellet coals going there. I'm going to throw a few of these up on the top. Set this where we want it. And then a little blow and look at it go. So it's going to need about 5 more minutes to be perfect, but we could start it right now. The reason we want to give it 5 more minutes is so that way the burning pellets spread out a little bit more, so it's a little more resistant to the reduction in oxygen. If we just throw it all together right after we light it, there's a real good chance that it'll just plain go out. I'm going to go ahead and set this on top here just as an example. And we'll see that we have the smoke flowing out of here. That's pretty nice. All right, I'll go ahead and set that to the side. Now, what I do for my cheese is I buy generic store brand cheese in the 8-ounce size block. My favorite crackers are club crackers, and these, when sliced up, fit perfectly on them. I don't eat a lot of crackers, but when I do, this is the way I want to go. I have a variety of cheeses here today, and it just so happens the other day there was no Swiss, and there was only 1 bar of Swiss at my local store, and since we live in a small town, you have to take what you can get. So I went ahead and bought a 16-ounce block of Swiss. Now, when I cut this, it won't come out exactly the way, but if you wanted to, you could slice it into a bunch of little blocks also, which would get you more surface area and actually reduce your cook time. So, I've got my favorite Victorinox knife here for filleting fish, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to cut that right in half. And look at that, 2 nice pieces of Swiss. Now this is 8 ounces, and this is 8 ounces, but you can see that there's clearly a different shape here. This one will fit better on a saltine, and this one will fit better on a club. Take a real quick break while I open all these cheeses and put them on the grill grate there. So I got them all cut open, and then I realized that I wanted to talk about a couple of these cheeses really quick. First of all, I like sharp cheddar as my favorite cheddar cheese to smoke, but I think that smoking white sharp cheddar is better because then you can see the smoke color on it. Now, there's hardly any taste difference between white and orange cheese, but again, this is for an aesthetics purpose. We want it to look smoked, so the white will actually get a slight brown tint to it. Then, my other thing is mozzarella cheese. I love smoked mozzarella, but you really can't do a lot of smoked mozzarella during the summer because it's just too warm out. When you're smoking cheese, once you get up to about 90 degrees, your cheese will melt. Mozzarella actually has a lower temperature. I like to keep it all 10 degrees under that temperature, so I would like to see somewhere below 70 degrees if I could. Now, the one thing about that is that when you go along at night, you can get a better smoking temperature during the day. A lot of times I will take the cheese and I will load the smoker before bedtime, and I'll make sure that I don't put too many pellets in, because if I put too many in during the day, I can go grab the pellet tray out when it's up to the 4 hours. But if I put too many at night, I'm asleep. So I think it's always better to go a little under on the smoke than over, but that's just my thought there. Now I've got this all loaded. I'm going to go ahead and set this on the top, and I removed the pellet tray for the filming, but normally I would not do that. Going to go ahead and lock this in. When I first set this up, I didn't have a lot of faith in these clips, but they've actually performed really well. Now I'm going to go ahead and set the cover on, and the vent is open all the way. I'll go ahead and open this. So in here you can see everything, and I'll try to snap a picture of that after I put the tray in, and I'll pop that right up here for you. You can see everything. There's the area that I showed you where the charcoal grate is, and then here's the bowl, which I don't use. Right now I just have foil in there, but I'm gonna get some lava rock or something and put that in there for long term. And then the second tray is just sitting on there. I don't actually care much for that. I think that it needs to be suspended a little bit, and in one of my modifications I might add another level up here of tabs to do something, or down here to lower the bowl, one of the two. But I haven't decided on that yet, and I didn't want to modify anything until I got through a bunch of cooks. So I'll go ahead and set this down, and then 1 second while I grab the tray. So you can see we're going along really good, and I'm gonna go ahead and add a couple more pieces from over here to there. And then I'm just going to blow on it. Now here's how you know that this is ready. When you can blow on it and get it to light, that's how you know it's ready. Ready? And there's flame. Perfect. Now once it's in here, if you want to add more oxygen, it's really easy to do, and it's also a lot safer. But now it's going, and I just need to blow it out. Perfect. I'm going to let it go like that for a minute, and then I'll go ahead and put the door back on, and then we're just going to let it roll for 4 hours. So for you, that'll just be a second. It has been just about 2.5, maybe 2 hours and 45 minutes. And I'm gonna go ahead and take a look in here. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pop a couple of pictures right here. And one is a picture of the temperature gauge, and you can see that it's not reading anything. It's pointing just about straight down, which is a good sign. So we know it's nice and cool. The next picture that I'm gonna post is a picture inside of the cheese. I went ahead and did that real quick, and then put the lid back on so that way it would get back under smoke. When I open it, the smoke will still be in there. So here we go. This thing slips around really easy. I almost knocked it off earlier, so I had to reset it to pull this tray out. And what I want to show you is I want to show you this, and that way you can see that this is almost 3 hours worth of burn right there. So we've got probably another, I don't know, maybe 2.5 hours left in there. So I'm gonna put that on, and then I learned that if you don't want it to slip around, you gotta grab onto it and give it a little push like that. When it's on the ground in the gravel, it obviously doesn't slide around, but there's nothing here holding it onto this flat metal surface here. So I wanted to do that. But I just wanted to pop in real quick, a little ahead of schedule, and show you what was going on. So it'll be another hour before I'm ready to set this, maybe even a little longer, because the smoke is moving pretty freely through there, so it's not really getting real heavy. So I don't think I'm going to be in trouble getting bitter by going longer than the 4 hours. So for you, that'll just be 1 second. I'll be right back. We are almost at about 5 hours here, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and open this up. And you can see we're still rolling out smoke. It's just a little less than 5 hours, and I'm going to show you the pellet tray. Still got plenty of pellets in there, and I'm going to go ahead and leave it in there. And the reason is that I don't think that the extra smoking is going to hurt anything. I actually think it will be good to add a little additional seasoning to the smoker. Sometimes when I want to re-season a smoker, I just use the pellet trays because it's pretty much carefree. You just throw it in there and let it do its thing. So the temperature still not reading. I would roughly say that's probably somewhere around 75. And just by putting your hand in here, you can tell it actually feels a little lower than 75. I brought out a nice little glove. I bumped the cheese around a little bit and got a little bit of the smoke on the side of it. So there's a few marks here and there, but nothing that's going to hurt it, you know, just like on the edges. So I'm going to go ahead and take these off and put them in the bag. You can see the grill mat here completely clean, which is great. That means the cheese did not melt at all. And of course I could feel it, so I knew it was firm. Now I'm going to go ahead and partially seal this. Now you can use a straw or whatever you want to put a little extra air in here. But what I like to do is I like to seal the bag with a little bit of air. I want this cheese to be able to share kind of the air and the smoky flavor with each other, but I don't want it to get all over my food in my refrigerator or to basically make everything in there smoky. I don't think my wife would appreciate that. But that is going to go in the refrigerator, and once I set it in there in the coolest spot in the low bottom back, I'll kind of separate the blocks out just a little bit, just so there's a little bit of room for air to circulate around them. We want this to sit in the refrigerator for at least a week. Now, I won't have time to check this and get you pictures of that and to add to this video before this video publishes, but I will go ahead and put a link here for another video that you can check out with some finished cheese in it, and then you'll get a really good idea of how this is going to work out. The color is perfect. It went in white, and it's just kind of a tan color right now. So we know that it turned out exactly the way I want it. We just need that time to cure. So wrapping this up, this Cuisinart 18-inch vertical smoker worked perfect with the amazing smoke tray for doing a small batch of cheese. I always do small batches, and I recommend that you do small batches and go with what you can eat. I don't like to freeze cheese because it changes the consistency of it, so I would rather do what will last for a while. This is a budget-friendly smoker that works great. You can check the price out with the affiliate links below. If you use those links, I will get compensated, but just going and checking the price will actually help the channel. So anything that you see in this video, there should be links for that below, and also some of my favorite things, even my camera I have a link for. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I'm going to enjoy this cheese next week, and it's perfect timing because we'll have some fresh smoked cheese heading into the holiday season. So again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.